The night a reporter insulted Lauren Bacall, Humphrey Bogart's quiet defense stunned all of Hollywood. November 1952, Los Angeles. The air is cold, sharp, carrying the scent of rain that never quite falls. Inside the Ambassador Hotel, crystal chandeliers cast golden light over silk gowns and tailored tuxedos. This is Hollywood at its peak, a world of manufactured smiles and whispered secrets. Humphrey Bogart stands near the bar, a glass of scotch in his hand. He is 53 years old. His face carries the weight of 1,000 roles, 1,000 cigarettes, 1,000 sleepless nights. But tonight, his eyes are soft. They follow one woman across the room, Lauren Bacall. She is 28. Her hair falls in waves over bare shoulders. Her laugh cuts through the noise like a blade through silk. She moves with the confidence of someone who knows exactly who she is and exactly who loves her. They have been married for 7 years. In Hollywood terms, that is an eternity. In their terms, it is just the beginning. Bogart watches her work the room. She stops to greet a director. She kisses the cheek of an aging actress. She does everything right. She always does. He smiles, not the smirk the cameras love. A real smile, the kind he saves for her. What happens in the next few minutes will echo through Hollywood for decades. It will reveal something about Humphrey Bogart that no film ever captured. Something raw, something true. The party is for charity. Studios, stars, reporters, everyone wants to be seen giving. Bogart hates these events. He hates the performance of generosity, but Bacall asked him to come, so here he is. He finishes his scotch, orders another. A young reporter approaches. His name is Wallace Marsh. He writes for a gossip column that thrives on scandal. His smile is too wide. His eyes are too eager. Bogart knows the type. He has dealt with hundreds of them. They circle like vultures, waiting for a single mistake, a single slip, a single moment of weakness they can twist into a headline. Marsh extends his hand. Bogart shakes it. Brief, firm, dismissive. "Mr. Bogart, wonderful to see you here tonight." Bogart nods. Says nothing. "I was hoping to ask you a few questions. For the column." Bogart takes a slow sip of his drink. "Ask." Marsh pulls out a small notebook. His pen hovers. "There are rumors about your next project. Can you confirm anything?" "No." "What about the political situation? Some say your views have cost you roles." Bogart's jaw tightens. He has been through the hearings. He has watched friends lose everything. He has learned when to speak and when to stay silent. "I am an actor. I act. That is all." Marsh scribbles something. His smile does not waver, but his eyes shift. They move across the room. They find Lauren Bacall. "And Mrs. and Bogart." She seems to be enjoying herself. Something in his tone changes. Bogart notices. His grip on the glass tightens. She always does. Marsh leans closer. His voice drops. "Some people wonder, you know, how a man like you ended up with a woman like her. She is so young, so beautiful. Some say she married you for your name, for your connections." The room seems to shrink. The noise fades. Bogart's eyes go cold. "Excuse me?" Marsh does not back down. This is his moment. This is the reaction he wanted. "I am just saying what people whisper, Mr. Bogart, that maybe she saw an opportunity, that maybe love had nothing to do with it." Bogart sets his glass on the bar. Slowly, deliberately, the sound of crystal on marble cuts through the ambient chatter. He turns to face Marsh fully. His posture changes. The actor disappears. What remains is something older, something harder. The man who grew up on the streets, the man who learned to fight before he learned to perform. "Let me tell you something," Bogart says. His voice is low, steady. Each word lands like a stone in still water. "That woman is the finest thing that ever happened to me. She did not need my name. She did not need my connections. She had her own talent, her own fire, her own future." Marsh's pen stops moving. "She chose me, and every single day I wake up wondering what I did to deserve that choice." The reporter's smile falters. "You write one word against her, one word, and I will make sure you never work in this town again. Not because I have power, but because every person in this room knows the truth. And the truth is that she is too good for all of us, including me." Marsh swallows. His notebook lowers. Bogart steps closer. His voice drops to a whisper only Marsh can hear. "Now you have a choice. You can walk away and forget this conversation ever happened, or you can print your garbage and find out exactly how far I'm willing to go to protect her. The decision is yours." Marsh backs away. His face is pale. He mumbles something, an apology, an excuse, it does not matter. He disappears into the crowd. Bogart picks up his drink. takes a long sip. His hand is steady. His expression is calm. Across the room, Lauren Bacall catches his eye. She tilts her head, a question in her gaze. He raises his glass to her, a silent toast. She smiles, that smile that first captured him on the set of To Have and Have Not. That smile that still captures him every single morning. She has no idea what just happened. She does not need to know. That is how Bogart loves. Quietly, fiercely, without expecting anything in return. Check if you are already subscribed to this channel, because here we do not tell you about movie stars. We tell you about the moments that revealed who they really were, the moments that history almost forgot. Subscribe now so you never miss another story like this one. The party continues. Champagne flows. Laughter rises and falls like waves against a shore, but something has shifted. The people nearest the bar sensed it. They saw Bogart's face change. They saw the reporter retreat. Whispers begin to spread. What did Bogart say to him? Why did Marsh leave so quickly? What happened? Hollywood runs on gossip, but this gossip is different. This gossip carries respect, even admiration. By midnight, the story has made its way through the room. By morning, it will reach the studios. By the end of the week, it will become legend. Humphrey Bogart defended his wife, not with fists, not with lawyers, with words so precise and so powerful that a reporter who built his career on destroying people simply walked away. This is not the Bogart the public knows. The public knows the tough guy, the cynic, the man who drinks too much and trusts too little. But this quiet ferocity, this absolute devotion, this is the real Bogart. Lauren Bacall joins him at the bar. She slips her hand into his. "You look serious," she says. "Just thinking." "About what?" He looks at her, really looks at her. The way he looked at her the first time they met. The way he will look at her until the very end. "About how lucky I am." She laughs. "You? Lucky? Bogey, you are the most unlucky man I know. You hate parties. You hate reporters. You hate half the people in this room." "I hate all of them," he corrects. "Except you." She squeezes his hand. "Then why do you come to these things?" "Because you asked me to." It is such a simple answer, but it carries the weight of everything he cannot say. Every fear, every doubt, every moment of wonder that she chose him. She leans closer. "Let us go home. Now. Now." They leave through a side entrance. No goodbyes, no announcements. They simply disappear into the night the way they always do. Their driver is waiting. He opens the door. They slide into the back seat. The car pulls away from the Ambassador Hotel, its lights fading in the rearview mirror. Bacall rests her head on Bogart's shoulder. The city passes by the windows. Neon signs, empty streets, the occasional pedestrian hurrying home. "Did something happen tonight?" she asks. Bogart is quiet for a moment. "Nothing important." "You are lying. I am protecting you." She lifts her head, looks at him. "Bogey, I do not need protecting." "I know, but I do it anyway." She studies his face, the lines, the shadows, the history written in every crease. "What did you do?" He sighs. "There is no point in hiding it," she always finds out. "A reporter. He said some things about you, about us. I corrected him." "Corrected him how?" "With words." "Just words?" "I'm getting old, Betty. Words are all I have left." She laughs, that full, rich laugh that first made him fall in love. "Tao called me Betty. That is your name. Not to anyone else." He smiles. "That is why I use it. It is mine." They ride in silence for a while. The car turns onto Mapleton Drive. Their home appears, a white colonial house set back from the road, surrounded by trees. This is their sanctuary, away from the cameras, away from the columns, away from everything Hollywood demands. The driver opens their door. They walk up the path together. Bogart's hand rests on the small of her back, a gentle touch, possessive and tender at once. Inside, the house is warm. A fire crackles in the living room. Their son, Stephen, is asleep upstairs. The nanny reports that he was an angel all evening. Bacall pours 2 glasses of wine. They settle onto the couch. The fire casts dancing shadows across their faces. "Tell me what he said," Bacall says. Bogart shakes his head. "It does not matter." "It matters to me." He takes a long drink, sets the glass down, looks into the flames. "He suggested that you married me for my career, for my name, that our love was not real." Bacall's expression does not change, but her eyes harden. "And what did you tell him?" "I told him the truth, that you are the finest thing in my life, that you did not need me, that I am the one who got lucky." She is quiet for a moment, processing. "You know that is not entirely true." she says finally. What do you mean? I did need you. Not for your name, not for your career. I needed you because you were the first person in Hollywood who treated me like a person, not a face, not a body, a person. Bogart turns to look at her. When we met on that set, she continues, I was terrified. 19 years old, everyone watching, everyone waiting for me to fail, and you just walked up to me and said, relax, kid, it is just a movie. He remembers. Of course he remembers. Every detail of that first meeting is burned into his memory. You made me believe I belonged there, she says. You made me believe I could do this, not with grand gestures, just with quiet kindness. That is why I fell in love with you, Bogey. Not the star, the man. He reaches out, touches her face. His thumb traces the line of her cheek. I am not a good man, Betty. You are to me. I drink too much. I know. I have a temper. I know. I have made mistakes. Terrible mistakes. We all have. He pulls her close, holds her. The fire crackles. The night deepens. I will always protect you, he whispers. Even when you do not need it. Even when it makes no sense. I cannot help it. It is who I am. She wraps her arms around him. I know. And that is why I love you. They stay like that for a long time. Two people who found each other in the chaos of Hollywood. Two people who built something real in a world of illusions. Outside, the wind picks up. Leaves rustle against the windows. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barks. But inside this house, there is only warmth, only safety, only love. The next morning, Bogart wakes early. The sun is just beginning to rise, painting the bedroom in shades of gold and pink. Bacall is still asleep. Her breathing is soft, regular, peaceful. He watches her for a moment. This woman who chose him. This woman who stays. Then he gets up, quietly, so as not to wake her. He puts on a robe, goes downstairs, starts the coffee. The newspaper is on the doorstep. He brings it inside, sits at the kitchen table. Opens it. He scans the headlines, politics, business, sports, and then the entertainment section. His eyes narrow. Wallace Marsh has a column, front page of the entertainment section. Bogart braces himself, but the column is not about them. It is not about the party. It is a generic piece about upcoming films and studio politics. Nothing personal, nothing damaging. Marsh kept his word. Bogart sets the paper down, takes a sip of coffee, allows himself a small smile. Sometimes, a quiet word is more powerful than 1,000 threats. Sometimes, standing firm is all it takes. The phone rings. Bogart answers. It is his agent. There is talk about a new project, something different, something that could challenge him. Bogart listens, makes notes, agrees to a meeting. Life continues. That is what it does. One day after another. One role after another. One morning after another. Waking up next to the woman he loves. He hangs up the phone, returns to his coffee, looks out the window at the garden. Footsteps on the stairs. Bacall appears in the doorway. Her hair is tousled. Her eyes are still heavy with sleep. She is wearing one of his shirts. She is the most beautiful thing he has ever seen. You are up early, she says. Could not sleep. Worried about something? Not anymore. She crosses the room, kisses him on the forehead, pours herself a cup of coffee. What is in the paper? Nothing important. She raises an eyebrow. Nothing about last night? Nothing. She sits across from him, studies his face. You did something, did you not? Something I do not know about. He shrugs. I had a conversation. That is all? With the reporter? Maybe. She shakes her head, but she is smiling. Bogey, you cannot fight everyone who says something bad about me. Watch me. I am serious. People will always talk. That is what they do. It does not matter what they say. He reaches across the table, takes her hand. It matters to me. What they say about you matters to me, because you are not just my wife. You are my reputation, my legacy, my everything. Her eyes soften. Bogey, I know I cannot fight the whole world. I know I cannot stop every rumor, every lie, every insult. But I can stand up when it counts. I can make sure that anyone who tries to hurt you knows that they will have to go through me first. She squeezes his hand. My hero. I am not a hero. I am just a man who loves his wife. That is the most heroic thing of all. They sit together in the morning light. Coffee grows cold. Time stretches and shrinks. The world outside continues its endless spin. But in this kitchen, in this moment, nothing else exists. Just two people. Just love. The story of that night at the Ambassador Hotel spreads through Hollywood like wildfire through dry brush. Within days, everyone has heard some version of it. Some say Bogart threatened the reporter physically. Some say he bribed him. Some say he simply stared him down until the man ran away in fear. The truth is quieter. The truth is just words. But words, delivered with conviction, can be the most powerful weapon of all. Wallace Marsh never writes another negative word about the Bogarts. In fact, he barely writes about them at all. When their names appear in his column, it is always in passing, always neutral, always respectful. Years later, after both Bogart and Bacall have become legends, Marsh will be asked about that night. He will pause, he will think, and then he will say something surprising. Bogart was the real thing. Not just an actor playing tough. The real thing. That night I saw it, and I knew better than to cross him. It is the closest Marsh will ever come to admitting what happened, but it is enough. The industry takes notice too. Directors, producers, other actors. They see how Bogart protects his wife. They see how he stands by her, and they respect him for it. In an industry built on betrayal, loyalty is rare, and Bogart's loyalty to Bacall becomes one of his defining characteristics. If you are watching this right now, and you have ever felt that kind of love, the kind that makes you want to protect someone at any cost, leave a comment saying, "That is real love." I want to see how many of you understand what Bogart felt that night. Time passes, seasons change, the 50s give way to the 60s. Hollywood transforms, old stars fade, new stars rise, but the Bogarts remain constant. They work together when the right project comes along. They raise their children, Stephen and Leslie, in that white house on Mapleton Drive. They host parties that become legendary for their wit and their warmth. Bogart continues to act. He takes on roles that challenge him, that push him beyond the tough guy image that made him famous. His performance in The African Queen wins him his only Academy Award. He is gracious in victory, humble even, but the drinking continues, the cigarettes continue, and slowly, invisibly, his health begins to decline. Bacall notices. Of course she notices. She knows him better than anyone. "You should see a doctor," she says one evening. "I am fine." "You are not fine. You are tired all the time. You have lost weight. I am getting old. That is what happens. Bogey, please." He looks at her, sees the worry in her eyes, the fear she is trying to hide. "All right," he says. "I will make an appointment." The appointment leads to tests. The tests lead to more tests. And finally, the tests lead to a diagnosis. It is not good. Bogart receives the news with characteristic calm. No dramatics, no despair, just a quiet nod and a question. How long? The doctors are vague. They always are. Months, maybe a year, maybe more if he stops smoking and drinking. He does not stop smoking. He does not stop drinking. But he does something else, something more important. He decides to spend whatever time he has left with the people he loves. The final years are quiet, intimate, filled with small moments that carry infinite weight. Mornings with Bacall in the kitchen, afternoons with his children in the garden, evenings with friends who have earned the right to call themselves friends. He does not talk about his illness. He does not want pity. He does not want sympathy. He just wants to live, fully, completely, until he cannot anymore. Bacall stands by him, every step, every day, every painful, beautiful moment. She is there when he cannot get out of bed. She is there when the pain becomes unbearable. She is there when he says goodbye to his children, one by one, with words he has rehearsed 1,000 times. And she is there at the end. January 14th, 1957. The house on Mapleton Drive is quiet. Snow falls outside, rare for Los Angeles, almost magical. Bogart lies in bed. His breathing is shallow. His eyes are closed, but his hand is wrapped around hers, holding on, always holding on. "Betty," he whispers, "I am here. I know." A pause, a breath that seems to take everything he has. "I want you to know something." "What?" "That night, at the Ambassador, when that reporter said those things about you." She leans closer. "Bogey, that was years ago. I know, but I need you to understand. I did not defend you because I was angry. I defended you because you are the best part of me, the only part worth saving." Tears stream down her face. She does not wipe them away. "You saved me, Betty. When I met you, I was just going through the motions, acting, drinking, waiting for something, I did not know what. And then you walked onto that set, and everything changed. Bogey, please, save your strength." "For what? This is all I have left." "Words, let me say them." She nods, holds his hand tighter. I love you. I have loved you since the moment we met, and I will love you long after I am gone. That is not poetry. That is fact. That is the truest thing I know. She kisses his forehead, his cheeks, his lips. I love you too, she whispers. I always have. I always will. He smiles. That famous Bogart smile, but softer now, gentler. Take care of the children. Take care of yourself. And when people ask you about us, tell them the truth. Tell them it was real. I will. Promise me. I promise. His eyes close. His breathing slows. The snow continues to fall outside. And then, quietly, peacefully, Humphrey Bogart passes from this world to whatever comes next. Bacall stays with him for a long time, holding his hand, talking to him, telling him stories about their life together, the way they met, the way they loved, the way they built something beautiful in a world that tried to tear them apart. She does not cry anymore. There will be time for tears later. Right now, she just wants to be with him one last time. The funeral is small, private, just family and close friends. No reporters, no cameras, no circus. Frank Sinatra is there, John Huston, Spencer Tracy, Katharine Hepburn, people who knew Bogart, people who loved him. But Bacall stands apart. Even surrounded by famous faces, she is alone, because the one person who truly understood her is gone. The minister speaks, words are said, prayers are offered, and then it is over. The body is cremated, the ashes are interred, life goes on. That is the cruelest thing about death. Life goes on. Bacall raises her children. She continues to act. She builds a second career on Broadway. She writes memoirs that become bestsellers. She lives a full and remarkable life. But she never stops loving Bogart. Years later, decades later, she will be asked about him in interviews. Her answer is always the same. He was the love of my life. There was no one before him who mattered, and there has been no one since who comes close. She married again, briefly, to Jason Robards. It did not last. How could it? How can anyone compete with a legend? But the story of that night at the Ambassador Hotel, the night Bogart defended her honor with nothing but words, that story lives on. It becomes part of the mythology, part of the legend. Proof that behind the tough exterior, behind the cynical performances, there was a man capable of profound love. That is the Bogart we should remember. Not just the actor, not just the icon, but the man who loved his wife so completely that he would stand against anyone who tried to diminish her. In the end, that is what separates the truly great from the merely famous. The truly great love deeply. They protect fiercely. They stand firm when others would back down. Humphrey Bogart was truly great, and Lauren Bacall, the woman who stood by him, the woman he defended, the woman he loved until his very last breath, she knew it better than anyone. On the mantel of her final home, she kept a small photograph, not from a film, not from a premiere, just a snapshot taken at a party, long ago, when they were both young and full of hope. In the photograph, Bogart is looking at her, just looking, no performance, no mask, just pure, unfiltered adoration. That photograph was there when Bacall passed away in 2014. It was one of the first things her children found when they went through her belongings. And when they saw it, that captured moment of love frozen in time, they understood. Some loves are so powerful that they transcend death. They become part of who you are. They define you, shape you, complete you. Bogart and Bacall had that kind of love. The world saw the movies, the world saw the headlines, but the world rarely saw what happened behind closed doors, the quiet conversations, the gentle touches, the unwavering support. That night at the Ambassador Hotel, the world got a glimpse. A reporter pushed too far and Bogart pushed back, not with fists, not with lawsuits, just with truth. And the truth was simple. He loved her. He loved her more than his career, more than his reputation, more than his own life. That is the story we should tell. That is the story worth remembering. When you think of Humphrey Bogart, do not just think of the tough guy in the trench coat. Think of the man who stood in a crowded room and told a reporter that his wife was the finest thing in his life. Think of the man who chose love every single day. Until the very end, they do not make them like Humphrey Bogart anymore. That is what everyone says, and maybe they are right. But maybe, just maybe, if we remember his story, if we share his story, if we let his story inspire us, we can become a little more like him. Not the actor, the man who loved fiercely, protected quietly, and never ever backed down when it mattered. That is the legacy of Humphrey Bogart, and it starts with a single night, A single insult, a single response. The night a reporter insulted Lauren Bacall, and Humphrey Bogart's quiet defense stunned all of Hollywood. If you made it this far, it is because this story touched something in you, because you believe that love like this still matters. That character still counts. So do me a favor. Leave a comment saying, "I watched until the end." Let me know you are here. Let me know you believe in stories like this one. And if you have not subscribed yet, now is the time. This channel is dedicated to finding these forgotten moments of humanity, the stories that history almost buried, the stories that reveal who people really were when no one was watching. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, because there are more stories coming, more legends, more truth. And while you are at it, hit the like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who believes in love. Someone who knows that the best parts of us are revealed not in our greatest triumphs, but in the quiet moments when we choose to stand for someone else. Humphrey Bogart made that choice, every day of his life, until the very end. The question is, will you? Thank you for watching. Thank you for caring. Thank you for keeping these stories alive. Until next time, take care of each other, the way Bogart took care of Bacall, the way we all should. The lights of Los Angeles continue to shine. The stars continue to rise and fall. But somewhere, in the eternal archive of Hollywood history, a photograph remains, a man looking at a woman, nothing else, just love. And that in the end is all that matters. The Ambassador Hotel is gone now, demolished in 2006, replaced by a school complex, the ballroom where Bogart and Bacall danced, where reporters circled like sharks, where that famous confrontation took place. It exists only in memory. But memory is powerful. Memory is what keeps us connected to those who came before. Memory is what transforms a single night into legend. Wallace Marsh died in 1987. Obscure, forgotten. His columns, once read by millions, now gather dust in newspaper archives. He never achieved the fame he sought. He never became the legend he wanted to be. But Bogart lives on. His films are watched by new generations. His image graces posters and T-shirts and tattoos. His name is synonymous with a kind of masculine integrity that feels almost mythical now. And that night at the Ambassador, that quiet act of love disguised as confrontation, that is part of why. Because Bogart understood something that most people never learn. Fame is fleeting, but character is eternal. You can win awards, you can make millions, you can see your name in lights and your face on screens around the world, but none of it matters if you do not know who you are, if you do not know what you stand for, if you do not know who you love and why. Bogart knew. He knew he was flawed. He knew he drank too much and smoked too much and trusted too little. He knew he had made mistakes that could never be undone, but he also knew that none of that defined him. What defined him was how he treated the people who mattered, how he showed up when it counted, how he chose love over pride, truth over convenience, honor over safety. That is the Bogart we celebrate, not the character, the man. Lauren Bacall spent the rest of her life honoring that man, not through grand gestures, through quiet constancy, through telling the truth when asked, through raising their children with the same values Bogart embodied. She could have faded into obscurity. She could have been remembered only as Bogart's wife, but she refused. She built her own legacy. She won her own awards. She proved that loving someone deeply does not diminish you, it expands you. When she died on August 12, 2014, tributes poured in from around the world. Hollywood royalty, Broadway legends, ordinary people who had been touched by her films, her books, her presence. But the tribute that mattered most was the simplest. Her children released a statement. It said in part, "She lived a full life. She loved deeply. She was loved in return." What more can any of us ask? What more indeed? The Bogart-Bacall love story has been called one of the greatest in Hollywood history, and that title is deserved. But not because of the films they made together, not because of the glamour or the fame or the fortune. It is deserved because it was real. In a world of manufactured romance and contractual relationships, they chose each other, every day, through sickness and health, through success and failure, through public scrutiny and private pain. That is the story worth telling. That is the legacy worth preserving. And it all comes back to that night, that single moment when a reporter tried to diminish something beautiful, and Bogart said no, not with shouting, not with violence, just with words, quiet words, true words, words that carried the weight of absolute conviction. That is power. That is strength. That is what it means to be truly great. The story ends here, but in another sense it never ends, because stories like this one ripple forward through time. They inspire, they challenge, they remind us of what matters. Every time someone chooses love over fear, Bogart's legacy lives on. Every time someone stands up for the person they love, Bogart's legacy lives on. Every time someone refuses to let cruelty go unchallenged, Bogart's legacy lives on. That is the real immortality. Not celluloid, not headlines, but the echo of character through generations. Humphrey Bogart died on January 14th, 1957, but in a very real sense he never died at all. He lives on in the stories we tell, in the values we uphold, in the love we share. He lives on in you right now, reading these words, feeling something stir inside you. That something, that recognition, that inspiration, that determination to be better. That is Bogart's gift to the world. Take it, honor it, pass it on, because they do not make them like Humphrey Bogart anymore. But maybe, just maybe, we can try. The snow has stopped falling over Los Angeles. The sun rises over the hills. A new day begins. And somewhere, in a house that no longer stands, in a room that exists only in memory, a man looks at a woman. He does not speak. He does not need to. Everything that needs to be said is written in his eyes. Love, devotion, protection, forever. That is the end of the story, and that is the beginning.